Hi everyone, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly horoscope. My name is Terence Guardino, and I'll be your host once again. This is the week, finally, that Mercury turns direct on February the 11th. Mercury had been retrograde the past 3 weeks. That can give more misunderstandings or more fuzzy thinking, where we don't have all the information, and then we set up a lot of disappointments. However, even though Mercury was retrograde, it was a good time to reflect on what our plans had been, what our goals are, what our expectations will be in the future, and to make the necessary adjustments. Great for this re-editing, revising. Now, even though Mercury is turning direct on Wednesday, February the 11th, it's going to appear to be stationary or at a dead stop when viewed through a telescope. In fact, for the week or a few days prior to Mercury stopping, it was moving backwards and, as seen through the telescope, but getting slower and slower and slower. So by Tuesday this week, on the 10th, the Mercury is at a standstill. On Wednesday, there's a slight movement to start moving forwards. The point is that Mercury is still, it might start moving forwards on the 11th, but it's still very sluggish. It's slow. And so will our awareness, our judgments, our planning. It won't be as sharp, astute, or alert. Now, you're not going to be making all the mistakes. There's not going to be all the misunderstandings, but your thinking processes are not going to be as fast and as sharp until Mercury gets back to its normal speed, which will give it at least a week. Now, Mercury is in the sign of Aquarius, and it will remain in the sign of Aquarius until March the 12th. So Mercury is about what we're thinking about, how we process information, what our expectations are. But when it's in the sign of Aquarius, Aquarius is brilliant, it's inventive, it's quirky. It means that we have more potential for coming up with innovative, original ideas. And it might be even a bit ahead of our time. Aquarius also rules friendships, and Mercury is all this communication and networking, and if there had been any misunderstandings or any distance with friendships when Mercury was in retrograde, you still have another good month to reconnect and to repair any misunderstandings. And Aquarius also represents the future, or our long-range goals. So your mind, in general, for all of us, are going to be really thinking about, what do we want for the rest of the year? What do we want for the next 5 years? So that's this Mercury moving through Aquarius. Now, Aquarius also represents the global community, humanity, the collective. And so our minds are going to be more focused on what is for the greater good and not so much on our own individual needs. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week for my next segment. Until then, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great week.